Good evening, good evening, good evening. How's everybody doing? Here we are. It's people to people. You know, we do what we do. We make it happen and put things together. And, you know, so I'm just always excited to be here to be able to share information. I have a real treat for you today. As y'all know, it's Let's Talk About It Wednesday. We have not really changed the format. Basically, it's still with the ladies. But today, what's happening is that I have Miss Hanadi, my life coach, is in with me today, and
Yeah.
she is actually into to start her session. And I asked her to come in to do this session with me for the first time as I introduce her to you uh, who are seeing her for the first time because she's been on the program before. We don't practice. We don't. This is all real. She is really my life coach. So how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me again.
I am so pleased. It's an honor for me to be able to share you with other people. I want people to understand that having a life coach is nothing wrong with it. It's not a bad thing. And so, basically, I'm excited to let people know that I um, asked to get your services so that you can help me change things in my life. And so, you've been coaching me over like the last couple of months now, right?
I think so. That's
Yeah.
been a great journey for both of us, to be honest. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So how is it? I want you. What I really want you to do is actually take me into a session. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you all of this, y'all tuning in. I'm getting ready to go into a session with my life coach, Miss Hanadi. She is. I mean, I tell you, she is amazing. So what we're going to do is we just going into a session, and y'all can just tune in and see what it's all about. So, um, as we normally would meet.
Okay,
Um,
we're gonna go spontaneous. Yeah, as you said, there's no preparation. We have not rehearsed at all this session, so we're just gonna do our what we do in every session.
okay.
And it's been a while. I mean, since we had the last session, I think it's 2, 3 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll start by hello, Rodney.
How you doing?
I'm good. So how have you been?
I've had some issues here and there. Dealing with the depression a little bit. It's been a little awkward. Uh,
Depression.
yes.
That's a little bit new. Last time we talked, you've reached a certain place where I felt you were content or you knew what you want to do or what you want to achieve. What changed?
What changed was that I just kind of found myself, to be honest with you, slipping back
Oh,
into where I had started allowing other people to dictate my emotions. So it's some individuals who I'm very close to that I'm having some issues with our relationship, and so emotionally, it has kind of made me kind of withdraw a little bit.
can you be more specific when you say withdraw emotionally? What were you feeling exactly? What's the feeling? Not the title of the feeling, but what was going inside you?
I was feeling like almost like that I was left out. I was feeling excluded when and the individuals are family members. So I was looking for something that's not there, and I allowed it to.
Okay, Rodney, give it another name
Uh,
from what we have learned about Rodney. What's that called? This wanting others.
where I was okay. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I do know that during the coaching,
Mm.
I needed to focus on what I do, not what somebody else want from me. Right?
Yeah. Who wants that in you?
The little guy.
The little guy.
Yeah.
So
So
the little guy is up again.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. And we knew that, right?
Yeah.
We knew that every now and then the baby Rodney is gonna show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now you, and that's it. I was kind of reluctant to say it, but the younger Rodney who's looking for the attention and looking for the pampering and looking for the security was trying to resurface.
Yes. And we agreed last time with the little Rodney that we have put some certain strategies, right? I just want to share with everyone and remind you maybe again with some of the pointers that we want to always address whenever the little Rodney comes up. And the little Rodney here could be a metaphor for everything that we're still dealing with or processing.
Right.
Yeah, whether it's a childhood, whether it's a trauma that we don't know, but we know the impact in it in us. But we can always, in this case, we just title it with Little Rodney, right? So the most important thing here is the awareness. You've done the major step, which is you are aware of what had happened. So there's a difference between whenever you feel this situation, which you call depression, and I know it's not a depression in the understanding, the psychological definition of depression. It's a phase that you're going through due to certain things. But number one issue is the awareness. Like you are aware of what is going on with you.
Right.
And this is like in the medical field, I would say once you accept that you have this or that, then that is
The
half of that
battle.
is the treatment, right?
Yes.
So here, this is what you're doing with yourself, and this is something that I've always wanted to acknowledge you for. You know how to read yourself. You know how to read your emotions. This makes it very easy to deal with it.
Right.
Okay, so for the little Rodney who wanted approvals or to be seen, which is also a normal emotions that we're not ashamed of. We only want to handle it on the right way.
Right.
Okay. Uh, what do you think makes him happy?
When he feels
Relaxes him, I mean.
where, 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 when he feels a part of the family, when he feels a part of what's going on, when he feels included.
When he feels included.
Yes.
Okay. That, in other terms, feeling home, being home,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
What do you think, or whom do you think the most important person to give Rodney that feeling, to give little Rodney that feeling?
It has to be me, myself, the big Rodney.
It has to be the big Rodney,
Yes.
right? Tell me from previous experience with with this specific incident, like when he feels this loneliness or need to belonging, and then you realize and give him that feeling. What happens inside you?
Well, if I respond in a way where I'm the protector,
Mm,
I start to feel I feel better. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, but
mm,
sometimes I find myself what I do is I allow the little Rodney to take my emotions and get them off kill, and then I don't function properly.
okay. Uh, Here's the tip. I mean, what I wanted to point out, this is between brackets. Uh, Once the little Rodney feels home with you, there would be a shift in the environment around you,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And that shift might, I mean, in a real session, has to come from him, but here, because we have this 20 minutes, and I just wanted to share the tip or where I'm heading
Okay.
with the point of asking this question. So, once you embody that feeling and you are totally content with it, I think what's inside immediately reflect to the other people around us, and then the energy you're holding in another way spreads around and then comes back to you.
Yes.
So that's always the equation. I want to feel loved. I want to feel belonging. So give it to yourself. And when you give it to yourself, when you're totally into that feeling, it's in your skin, that neediness, which bothers everybody around you, even if they love you, it won't be there. Because if one is interacting with you, they would feel that this person is full, is complete. I'm not here, I'm not having the burden that I have to give something or fill up something. And that's it's such a burden, even for the loved ones. Even
Right.
if it's your kids, whoever is closer to you, once they feel this is a demand from them, then it always becomes hard. Although the feeling would be there,
Right.
it could be there. So if we go back and implement this feeling or this theory with you, little Rodney, and the surroundings around you, uh, can you share any incident like when this happened and the difference that you felt?
Um, Actually, when I started to feel it is when I was communicating with one of my sons, and I realized that some of the things that me as a father or as an adult wasn't being receptive. They weren't receiving it. And
Okay.
so then I started to go back and start to evaluate myself. And instead of really putting myself in a position and saying, "You okay?" I didn't do that. What I did is I started to try to look for reasons to say that I was doing something wrong.
Okay. Beating yourself up.
Yes.
Mm.
And so that caused me to then start to go into this negative energy area where I was saying, "Man, okay, here I go again, here you go again." When what we did in our one session, when you told me, when I talk to the little Rodney, I tell him it's okay, don't worry about it, I got
It's
it.
perfect, yeah.
It it's not going to be a perfect world, but I got it. We can move forward. And when I was doing that, the little Rodney wasn't looking for anything other than to see me happy. And when I was happy, I made him happy too.
Yes. And that impacted the surroundings, isn't
Yes,
it? Yeah. So that, I mean, that makes it's a win-win situation for the big Rodney now and for the little Rodney.
yes,
Yeah, I really want to go back and stress on how important the awareness is at this case. Once you realize what's happening to you, where you're going, because it's very easy to slip into negativity, to slip into believing into that event that's happening, and then it totally takes control over you of your life at that moment, and your mood and your reactions and what you believe about yourself. And this is where the danger comes. And here, if we have only, I mean, I would really, I cannot stress enough or recommend enough for everyone that once we are at that place, then here is where we stop ourselves. Okay, I'm sleeping there. I'm going to that darker hole. Let me pull myself away, even if you don't know how to deal with it fully. But the first point is I choose not to go there. I choose to stop myself. I'm aware. I realize where I'm going. I realize where it's taking me, where this could be, and just bring to your mind a dark memory that I don't want to go to that rock bottom again.
right,
Okay, this by itself, it's enough to pull you back, you know. And then you sit with the feeling. Now, you called it a depression. Maybe I would say it's a, it could be, but it could be also a confusion of what do I deal with. And in your case, knowing you, I think you would be beating yourself up. Why am I doing it again? Why this is happening? And this is a normal feeling. No one is perfect, and no one can get it 100% and not slip into making similar mistakes over and over. In here, I would always remind you again of one of the tips that we discussed. That is maybe uh, the anchor,
right,
an anchor that you go to remind you of the things that you really or the concepts or the values that you've agreed with yourself that this is who I am and this is what I'm going to be. Or whenever we're lost, we just want something in us, something that I can touch, something that I can see, maybe holding my finger, maybe a ring that I'm wearing. In your case, we agreed on
my my
your
my.
bracelet.
I
Yeah.
have this, and it works. So during the session with you, and we were talking about that. How do I bring myself back to the reality of I don't have to go into that dark place?
Yes.
I have a bracelet that's for my uh, nephew who
Nephew.
transitioned,
Oh,
and it's the one thing I never take off. And so you're right. That's what I do. So I have a tendency to stick my finger in it. Excuse me. And I kind of do this, and then it brings me back to reality, to
okay.
say, okay, when I do that, that's when Little Rodney kind of disappears. He kind of just
Cools down.
he cools down,
Yeah, he
and
cools
and
down.
now I'm back in. I think that, and I want to say this because I know we are going through the session, and this is something that a lot of people may not understand, but I did understand about myself. What happens in your childhood can affect you in your adulthood,
Always.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And when a lot of things that I was looking for as a child, I still secretly was looking for them as an adult.
Correct. This is a great realization. That's the realization we I mean I wish for everyone would know about what is holding you back from the past. It could be mostly it's a childhood issue, but in coaching, and again, coaching is not psychology. It's not. It's different than psychotherapy sessions. It's once you realize that, or you come to coaching. Maybe we've discussed that in the previous sessions, but I really want to repeat this. Explanation again. Coaching is where you are now today, and where you want to go from this point here. Where do you want to reach? It's like giving you wings to fly,
Hmm.
and that always easy to happen when the client is ready for that. And you've been a great client, Rodney. Really, you've been very receptive. You were ready, and that's because there's a deep urge in you or need for that. I really want to achieve. I want to transform, and this is my best kind, my favorite type of coaching. When people are ready to transform, and then just put that wings on their body and let them fly and discover all the areas that they are capable to reach.
I in the session when you first introduced me to the little boy,
Hmm.
which a lot of times he was always there, but when we talked about it, and then I acknowledged that that's where all that pain and all that hurt was, I realized that as an adult, I can let it go. I just have to know not to harvest it inside.
Correct. And
And
that's we called in coaching processing. This is
right,
processing. What
yeah,
we
okay,
did is that the processing procedure or the process. So that always helps you to go down, get down, and it's painful. Even studying it was painful. You go deep down, and then you can rise up. You know, even in physics, that there's something like that. So you really go to the lowest point that you can reach, and then from there it's painful, and we've been through
yes,
some hard sessions, but then after that you can rise, and it's always a choice. It's always the client's choice.
right,
So this is again going back to the topic of depression. I would say the first point is the realization. If the client realizes that, okay, I'm feeling this feeling, I'm
mm,
feeling depressed, I'm feeling low, it's not me, uh, realize that, be aware of where you are, and accept it. Don't try to overcome it or just ignore it or pretend it's not there, because it is there, right?
right,
And then after that, it's a choice that we make. Do I want to stay in this place, or I choose to move on from this? And to move on from that, there's so many process, and everybody, I mean, we tailor our process to to the clients, because everybody is different. This anchor thing worked with you, it might not work with somebody else. So everybody, and then from understanding the client and what do they need, and how uh, what will they react to more or be more receptive to, then we tailor the process of what to do. But the point is, I want to move from that place. I want to get to a better place. I would also like to talk briefly about how, I mean, the belief that everything is within you. We are perfect as we are. All the other elements is outside our borders, outside our circle. If we really adapt this, and this is something I'm talking about from personal experience too, you know, uh, when you realize or when you believe that I'm good, I'm perfect, everything else is happening with me, with the job, with the family, with the friends, relations, whatever it is, it's really outside my circle. It's really outside. It is in my circle, but it's outside me. But I'm good as I am. I'm not going to allow these things to pull me down, to destroy me or to hit on my anchors. Just imagine the tree. I love the tree. I always go back to the tree. The tree is deeply rooted on the earth, right?
Hmm.
The seasons comes and go. Things happens. It's fall, it's winter, it's snow, but it's always there. The tree is always there.
Rooted.
Surrendering to whatever's happening around it and knowing how to deal with it. It accepts. It's acceptance, and then we see it beautiful in every season, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So human being can adapt the same theory or the same way. Uh, it's all in the mind. If we accept that mentally, then it would be easy to deal with whatever challenges we're going through, and they're endless. I know it's endless. It's endless. It cannot stop in one point. We cannot say,
Hmm.
okay, that's it. I had this. I dealt with it, and and we can take you as an example, Rodney. I see you few days. I mean, sometimes like you're on the sky. There's nothing. Nothing is gonna beat me. And then the next session would be like, oh, okay, again, it's happening. Something is happening. But that's always easy to deal with once we know and we believe from the depth of our heart that it's a phase. We're gonna go through it. It's gonna end. I just have to know how to talk to myself and process it.
What I got out the sessions and that was so profound was acknowledging that all the things as a child that I had to deal with that I was afraid to face as an adult, it still existed, but I was the one that was feeding it.
Ah, good point. You were feeding it.
Yes.
Yes.
See, I was feeding
Yes.
it, so
Mm,
I had got to the point where I had to stop feeding it in order for it not to matter.
absolutely. This is great. This is really great realization. You reach a very advanced point. It was I cannot say enough that how easy was it to not I mean to coach Rodney because he knows it actually. Plus, my coaching style is always based on spirituality, and you're a very very spiritual person, so that made the language very easy. So you knew that I could say stop feeding that fear. That's what really made the changes, right?
And so one of the things that many people don't know and many people do, I had a rough childhood with my father. And so when I acknowledged that he no longer can hurt me, that he no longer can control my surrounding, my life started to become so much better. And I was able to control the storm, per se,
Mm-hmm.
in my mind. So,
Okay, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just remembered something. I think what was the defined uh, time in your healing.
mhm.
I want you to tell that story. Uh,
when
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 yeah,
what
with the
happened?
relationship with your father, when you reach a certain point, what feeling got you to step over, helped you to step over?
When I acknowledged that, one, I was able to forgive him.
This is the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Forgive him.
When I was able to forgive him.
Mm-hmm.
When I was able to forgive him, I so much got released. I was like, okay, I forgive you, and it was just like it was overwhelming. As you remember that, I was very emotional in that session.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things where I am right now is I feel the development within myself,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes when I see other people, what I got to practice is not taking on the energy of other people.
Uh-huh.
That's where I'm working on now. I'm trying not to take on the energy of other people. And so it's powerful. And you as a life coach, one of the things that was really just it was the little things that helped me, like the thing about the bracelet. Um, what I do is I don't. It hasn't been off since I put it on.
That's
So
good.
what I do is I just do this, and so then when I start doing this, I start becoming conscious of, you know what, yo, that's not here for real. I start to become aware.
Okay.
The energy of the little boy is really he's really okay, you know, because I'm a grown man, and I'm a grown man that can make the decision to make
Mhm.
it okay.
Mhm.
I can make the decision whether I really want to allow the depression to come in or go out. I start to take charge of it when I become aware that I am now allowing it to come into my space.
Great.
So as you and we were talking, this is one of the things that one of the skills that I had got from you was to say, okay, when it's trying to invade my space,
Stop.
stop,
Yeah.
and I can control that.
Mm.
So I know that again. You know, you said to stay within our time limit, but I can go on and on.
I know it's really amazing. We always have amazing conversations.
Yes.
In coaching, we have this skill of acknowledgement, and I would really like to acknowledge you here. I mean, and in front of our team and everybody who's watching, for the power of your forgiveness, Rodney. That was amazing, amazing. It really impacted me personally, and I'm sure. I mean, we don't need, of course, to go deeply, but when you told me that story and how you were able really from at your darkest point to choose forgiveness, I think that what had made the total change in your life,
Yes.
and it's what's impacting your relationship with everyone. And I hope one day we'll talk to Zina and she'll tell us about that too. You know, I mean, how this your ability to really handle things from that perspective, how did it impacted other people around you? This is a great value. I cannot admire that enough, and I cannot say enough about it. So I'm so happy to work with you.
Well, to everyone, I have invited Hanadi to come, and she's going to be on hopefully every Wednesday. Um, and it's not going to be my session. We decided today just so that you can get an idea of what a life coach does. I want to tell you personally in front of the audience and then the staff in here, thank you for introducing me to my inner self, that where I was able to really take control because it was an emotional ride, and I know so many other people that deals with issues that really don't know how to come out of it. So, with that said, I want y'all to know that Hanadi is a life coach. She will be available to do personal sessions, but that'll be through the process of you getting to know her and get the information. We are trying to get it so that she will be on every Wednesday, and she will start doing some sessions according to whatever direction she
I love
goes.
the topics, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Always happy to be here and always great to work with all the wonderful clients.
So I thank everybody that tuned
Thank you.
in, and what we get ready to do is we get ready to switch it up. And you know, you got it's let's talk about it Wednesday with the ladies. Hanadi, I again thank you so much. And please, I said before, do not disown me, even though I'm getting better and better and better.
No,
I
we
appreciate you so
always
much.
need that, yes, and yes, it's a pleasure to work with you anytime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's on a flyer right now. All right, good evening.
All right, all right, all right.
Yes, yes,
We're going to get some sip on this conversation.
yes. Let's get it started.
guys.
You ready, Miss Chrissy?
I'm
Miss
ready.
Chrissy Love.
Y'all gonna make me some sip on this conversation because
Yes.
we ain't got time to dilly dally, run, and get some gin and juice, something because and hide the children because it's gonna get deep. Anyone
Right.
like 4, 5, 6, under 10, they may want to step out. We are gonna touch on molestation, rape,
Yes.
and how it affects your marriage and relationships with others. So,
Hmm.
parent as you see fit. Enjoy your sip.
So how you feeling this evening?
I feel beat up.
You
I
feel
had a
beat
rough
up?
day.
You had a rough
I had a
day?
rough day, but
Busy, long day?
yes, ma'am. 12 hours
But you
today.
made it through. You made
Made
it
it
through.
through. How was y'all's day over there at home?
Well, I did get a chance to relax. Just getting a lot of things in order. It's been rough too, but I'm glad I got at least a chance to, like I said, relax. I feel like sometimes just all over the place. So sometimes you just got to know when to sit still, relax the mind. So I did get a chance to do that because,
Oh,
we
that's
all have
good.
our rough days. So,
Oh, I wish I had your day.
yeah.
Sound good. Ooh.
Yeah.
All right. So, where do we start with this? Let's just jump in because we got 30 minutes and
Yeah.
people may have questions. I definitely want you guys to ask questions and call in, but I'm going to be 100%. I don't know how you feel, but I have been molested. I have been raped. Oh, our phone number. So, our phone number to call in is 703-752-6120. 703-752-6120. And guess what, you guys? These lights don't stay on by themselves. So thank you, Rodney, for making sure all the maintenance is done. Cash
Yeah.
App, $RG1960. Thank you
Yes.
for your support.
Yes, please support, guys. Any sponsorships, we would love to appreciate it. So, you was talking about just tragic things, trauma that you experience. Um, we do have the holidays coming around the corner, so this is definitely a good topic to talk about because this is a hard time for a lot of people to be happy. Everybody is not happy during the holidays because of tragic things that they might have went through. So, would you say it was hard for you during the holidays with certain
Um,
things you experienced?
are you referring to like maybe being around people who have maybe sexually abused you or things like that?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So actually, mine wasn't around the family members. Um, holidays are fine with me. I have other concerns, but not through molestation or rape. However, um, I always do blame my boyfriend while I'm alone, but that's not his fault. So I just get the blues, but
Right.
not related to this. How about you?
So I would say for me, around the holidays, I remember as a child I was really happy, but it was so weird because as I got older, it wasn't so much happy because I don't feel like the love is all the way there. Um, so I feel like that's a problem with certain people. They don't feel enough of that love, maybe, and the holidays just remind them of that because, it's most people are with their families or enjoying it and happy, but everybody's not having that experience. So I just try my best to make it the best that I can, but it definitely gets hard because I would like to for everybody to be around and everybody just enjoying it, themselves. But not just for the holidays, but like I said, it just normally hit people a lot because of what they might experience.
Yeah, I hear you on that. Especially if you haven't even told your family,
Mhm.
and it's like an uncle, and it's like your mom's brother, or even if it was
Yep.
an aunt, and it's like you don't want to hurt your parents because it's like related to them, and you see them, and every time
Mhm.
you just holding that secret, and it can be painful even as an adult. Even though it happened 50 years ago, you still can feel that. It doesn't matter if you were a man or a woman. When this happened as a child, like Ms. Hanadi said, and actually Rodney said, your childhood hurts carries on into your
Mhm.
adulthood. So
Yeah.
as you were molested and touched as a child, and then you're going still as an adult, and you're going around your family members, sometimes that's a trigger,
Mhm.
and it's hurtful, especially if you're going around in silence and you haven't told anybody.
Yeah, and then
Um,
you have some that shared it, and then you being told that you're a liar, or they tell you don't say anything, so the family don't know. So now you really, stuck and feeling with those emotions because, you either feel like you can't have nobody to talk to about it, or if you do, they don't believe you. So both feelings, don't feel good.
You're
And
right.
that's the problem, is most people don't know when is it a good time to tell somebody, who should I tell. And it's sad that you can be living, with family members and can't even talk to them about it. But it's a very deep situation.
Yeah.
So
I was scared to tell my parents. I didn't tell my parents until I was an adult. I was maybe, I think, late 20s.
hmm
And even it wasn't a family member, so it wasn't like a bad thing to tell my parents, but just it made me feel like it was my fault, and I didn't want them to feel guilty because they're good parents. Like they protected me. Like it doesn't matter how hard you protect your child.
right,
Sometimes things happen. Like your child has to go to school. Your child has to go to church. It's like, I mean, if you're in the church, it's not like you can put your child in a bubble. So I didn't want to hurt them for them to think that they were a bad
and you know
parent.
what you did say. I think that's really really true. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Uh,
it's not always at home a family member. It's normally somebody that's around the same age as you that can be doing these things. So it's just sad. But
Yeah.
what would be the thing that made it feel like it was your fault?
Um, well, because the when I was younger, I knew it wasn't my fault, but when I was 14, I was actually he says it wasn't rape, but to me it was rape. Um, I wasn't ready to have sex, and he was.
hmm
And he used the whole thing. I need to go home and get my wallet. At 14, I'm not even thinking. First of all, I'm highly involved in the church. I literally, this is what gets me so irritated. I literally practiced for a whole year of being a good Christian and being baptized before I got baptized because I did not want to hurt God's feelings.
hmm
And for me to have sex was horrible. Like that was like the ultimate guilt. And it wasn't me wanting it. So for me it felt like I was dirty and it was my fault because it happened even though I said no multiple times.
hmm
And then it gets into it's just going to be foreplay, it's just going to be this and it's just going to be that until at the point I'm already passed out because it's happening, it's painful, I don't know what's happening. I wake up and everything's done. So yeah, that's when for me it felt like it was my
Well,
fault.
like, and then some people feel like, oh, if I would have just never, trusted them, or if I didn't stay,
If
if
I
I
never
didn't
went to his
stay, or if
house,
I didn't, yeah. But
but he
it's
said he forgot his wallet, that's why I feel guilty because like my
and
dad would
people
have been
know when
like,
you're vulnerable, or
mm-hmm,
being, nice and too open and trustworthy, so they play on that, So
yeah,
it's a lot of things. And I would just say we have to teach our kids, certain signs, to look out for, and to just, protect themselves when they go out there, because like you said, it could be close friends that,
mm-hmm,
or just around the age, especially when you're younger, because you got when they playing truth or dare, so they they
mm-hmm,
feel like, oh, if I don't play, I'm not fitting in with everybody, or I'm not cool, so they feel pressure, with that game, and they dare you to do anything, or
and these
so
little
it's a lot
kids,
of
some
ways
of
how
them
it
are
can
so
start
grown.
with just close friends, and
Yeah,
especially at a younger age, and you got even school as well. Sometimes it goes through people go through it at school, so it's sad because it's going on a lot with the younger,
yeah.
very at a young age.
I knew somebody, a coworker, their child actually got molested by another child in first grade,
Mm,
by a first grader. So I was so confused on how that first grader even knew what to do, where all the holes and things were and how does it happen in school? Where's the
yeah.
teacher? How does that even happen in the classroom? I'm just devastated. Like I never thought to even tell like a child good touches, bad touches. Why would you have to
hmm
explain that to a 5-year old? Like, don't let another 5-year old touch you.
I know.
I
It's like,
never
how
thought
do
to
you
say
really?
that. Like,
hmm
we were taught in school, don't let anybody touch you in your bathing suit area. And they were saying adults. So now I just realized we got to tell our kids, like,
Yeah, because they're, if they exposed to those type of things,
They will act out.
yeah, I definitely, I don't know, but if you definitely exposing a child certain things, they will try that, with somebody else. So,
Hmm.
unfortunately, you have something that don't want to be touched, but it just shows a lot of time in studies that what most people doing to somebody done to them. So,
Hmm. They act it out
yeah,
to
and it
others.
just become repetition, and they learn that behavior, and they start doing it to others. So, and it's easier to do it to somebody like close around the age you're playing with, and you know, because
Hmm.
you got daycares.
Yeah.
I have, even with males, I know a lot of males that said that their babysitter, um, maybe their friend older sister,
Hmm.
sometimes it's their real older sister. It's sad because even you
I
have
see
young
that
males
too.
that's going through it
Yeah.
as well, being touched at a young age, whether it's by the same age or older, same sex, opposite sex. We have young males that's going through it as well,
Yeah. I actually
and they
know a few
definitely
guys
don't feel
that
like
went
they
through
can
that.
talk to nobody about it.
Yeah.
So it's just sad because a lot of people that's hurt is hurting other people. You know.
But why do you think some guys, since you talk to a lot of guys, they just come and ask for advice?
Mm.
Why are guys comfortable of losing their virginity or getting touched at 5 and 6 by their babysitter? And it's like it like builds them up,
Yeah.
and then for us, it like tears us down. I don't.
Um.
For them, they're just so.
I
I
know
ain't gonna
that
lie.
is.
Like the ones that have been molested I've dated, they are better lovers. I hate to say it, but I
Hmm.
don't know why.
I guess the whole turning them out is really true. They
It's
was turned out. I mean,
what
she
I
must have made them
learned.
feel so good. They like,
I
oh,
said, "Oh
I
my
got an
goodness."
older chick that made me feel like this. So it's gonna be nothing with some girl my age or younger. So
Yeah, they definitely
sometimes
paid
it do
attention.
boost that ego up for them. You're right about that.
Yeah.
Because if they're around other guys, and especially if she just what they consider a bad older chick, and
Mhm.
he just a little youngin', he
Mhm.
is going to feel good. She just made him feel good. His boy's gonna be like, oh yeah, you the man. So that's just the
Man.
starter,
Yeah.
so it definitely touch on the ego thing where they gonna be feeling themselves. And when it's us, we're more emotional. So if we do let's say let a guy that's our age or older do that, we get more of our emotions involved. So
Mhm.
that was more like, oh, I trusted him, and oh, he really
Yeah.
likes me because I was his first and stuff like that. But if they're not making you feel good, then that's when you start feeling bad about it. A
Yeah.
guy, it's some guys that go through the same where he thought that older chick was really liking him, and and he was like, dang, I got me this girl, and she was playing him, or she was
Yep.
married, and he's thinking he this young little dude that got this girl, but she was playing him. So you got some dudes that get their feelings
Shoot.
involved too. It just depends
That's
on
just
that
crazy
individual.
though. You get paid to just molest a kid. That's crazy though.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
that's that's
It's
wild, man.
You got some
All
people
y'all
out
get
here.
y'all little cameras in your house. I used to be a babysitter and I saw their cameras. They had them all around the house.
Yes.
Uh, that's
Hmm.
horrible. Um, so also I was talking to someone who's married and he was frustrated with his wife by not putting out.
What you mean not putting out?
She's holding out on sex
Oh,
a lot. Like since they got married, like since they started dating, like she wasn't really into it. And he says she's
hmm,
not freaky. So I'm listening to him, and I'm listening to his frustration. And actually, they're not married yet, but he wants to propose. She wants to get married, but this is a problem. Like,
yeah.
she ain't getting the ring. She ain't putting out.
Mm.
So I asked him, has she ever been molested? Has she ever been raped?
Hmm.
And he says, well, I don't know, but she's hinting to something like that. And I'm being
Wow.
calm. I'm like, she's hinting. Like, when are you gonna have
Like
that
he really don't
conversation?
know.
Like,
Yep.
when you gonna have like boy, we I'm gonna talk to this person a little more,
Hmm.
but so when that happens, it does affect marriages,
It do.
and gentlemen and women, try to find out the history on why this person is not putting out the way you feel like they should.
Yep.
Um, I assume it would be a conversation before you get married,
Oh yeah.
or
I would.
before
I
you
would
get into
recommend.
4 years down the road in a relationship. But Find out what's going on, if there's a molestation, is there rape, what is this person's fear?
Yeah.
How are you approaching this person? Because if they've been raped or molested and you're putting pressure on them,
Hmm.
at least I can speak for myself, I don't feel safe.
And it triggers.
It
It
triggers
it
me.
definitely triggers
And if we're
old
dating,
trauma.
oh honey, you won't never getting this. You ain't even getting a second date. I don't care if you're paying. If
Yep.
you pressure me, I have nothing to
Mhm.
do with you.
Yep.
I have to make the first move if we're dating, and I have to feel safe. I
That
have,
trust. That trust has to be
yeah,
built. Hmm.
and and I don't tell them that I've been raped or molested. I want to see your natural who you are. Are you going to be chill with me and be loving? Are you going to be aggressive and say like I'm supposed to put out? You bought me dinner. Because
Yeah.
I'll run your bill up and you ain't getting nothing.
I feel like
I'm sorry.
yeah, and if I've always told people if you pay attention enough, you can kind of tell. Like, if you notice that a woman is uncomfortable with you touching her, that has to me just either she just really just not ready. But if it's time being built, and she's still not ready, then I feel like those are signs like maybe something did happen. But you don't want to. It's a certain way you want to maybe make that person comfortable to talk about it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but definitely before marriage, because then that way you can know how to deal with them more. So that
Yeah.
way you can know maybe not let me not be too aggressive, or let me kind of wait till they give me that signal when
Mm-hmm.
they touching me first and showing me affection, and maybe I can know that's their way of okay, they comfortable with us being intimate together. Um, but they have to be able to come to that point where they can talk about it as
Yeah.
well,
It needs to
so
be
their
trust.
partner can know okay when is a good time, because they can't read your mind, they don't know.
Yep.
So you have to be open to talk about when you're ready for certain things, or well, maybe we have to do just more just a cuddle more,
Cuddle
or some
more.
people want more of a foreplay. um, some it's just that conversation, and then it
Mm-hmm.
opens them up more. Everybody is different in their love language, so I feel like people have to pay attention to their love language, because somebody who was probably maybe touched, um, they might be somebody where they need to be heard more. And
Yeah.
then when they see that you listening to them,
Mm-hmm.
that might turn them on. Like, oh my gosh, they're really
Yeah.
listening to
You.
me.
Yeah.
And once that turn them on, then it's going to release and open up and lower up that other wall. But
Mm-hmm.
a person always have to be patient with that, and they have
Yeah.
to you have to pay attention to what that person need, because everybody is not where you got to show them affection, because some people wasn't used to affection, so that's why they probably need it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or
like I
some
said,
people never had affection, so they don't know how to react when you're hugging them and
yeah.
holding them.
Mhm.
Maybe they weren't even molested, but they just never had it.
Yeah.
So anytime they're squirmish, just remember to talk to your mate and find out why they're
Mhm.
squirmish, why they're uncomfortable. Do your
Yeah.
best, like she said, to know their love language. Um,
And not take it so personal. I tell people, don't take it.
yeah,
It's gonna make you feel some type of way, because you're trying so hard to please that person and make them satisfied. But you still have to be patient, because if you want to gain their trust, then it just got to take more patience and just asking more questions, or so just to see what they need.
mhm,
Hmm.
you're right.
Yeah, I would say pay closely attention to that. Cause me, I'm somebody, I love to talk,
Mhm.
and I like to listen and stuff. I was really quiet, so if we can have long talks, that's something that I really love. That's
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Um, I forgot to hit on date rape. We jumped straight to marriage instead of
I know.
dating. So, um, so,
And that could be pretty much just somebody like that you're actually dating.
mhm,
Hmm.
yeah, yes, that's what happened to me at 14. Um, yeah,
Oh yeah, cause like we said, we went to marriage. Then now we on. You said date rape.
yeah. So I'm
The
gonna just,
list
I'm
can
just gonna,
go on and
I'm gonna
on.
give
So
you just a
guys, yeah,
scenario.
we probably gonna have to do a part two with this.
Yeah, we're gonna do a part
Yeah,
two. But
but just to touch in a little bit, how would you talk about
so
that?
for me, or for people who have ever like been out to a club, you know, I was always told to you,
Right.
don't let nobody buy you a drink.
Mm-hmm.
This is because people still slip a Mickey in your drink. You know,
They
older
gotta
people, y'all
watch
know
it.
what that is. Um,
Gotta
and I've seen it
caution
happen
them.
where somebody's actually had something slipped into their drink.
What?
Also had gummies, so didn't know what
Mm.
was in the gummies.
Oh my
And
goodness.
not only were they taken home, don't remember how they got there, date raped, and then they got victim remorse. They
Mm.
kept the person in their house for 2 weeks. 2
That's
weeks
scary.
eating their food, acting like they're in love. Don't remember how they even got home. Don't remember,
Mm.
what happened. And this guy was an awful person. Um, he was telling her how he knows like who to pick up and who looks vulnerable. Like literally, he was having all these like weird conversations in the house.
Mm.
Um, it's we got to be careful,
We really do, yeah.
like who we have in our circle
Mm-hmm.
and where we go and what you drink. Like I know it's fun to go out and have your sip, but from now on, I'm
Yeah.
going with my wingman. I
Mm-hmm.
used to go by myself, but I didn't really drink. But if I ever go
Like,
out again, I definitely want to have somebody with me because
yep.
these day and age, people are different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
And just pay attention to signs. Like I said, I could sometimes I might go out, go to the bar, get me some lunch or something to drink,
mhm.
and sometimes my glass is still full, and a guy might say, "Oh, you want a drink?" And I understand, maybe just being nice and everything, but I'm like, I still have a full one, so I'm like, well, I gotta finish this one. I don't know. It just, I don't know if you're trying to get me real drunk or not. So it's like sometimes you just want to pay attention to certain things. So
Mm.
I would rather guy at least make conversation first, and at least I don't know, because if you say I'm still working with one, why are you rushing another one already? Like, so
Yeah.
you just want to pay attention to certain signs, or if certain people just saying, "Oh, you want to drink," and "Oh, you want to try this," you just want to pay attention to signs, and especially if they feel like they putting that pressure or rushing you,
Mhm.
So.
Because next thing you know, they will be pressuring you in the bedroom.
Mhm.
Now I have devil's advocate. Now my son, I taught him about the rape and all that stuff. He knows no means no, and I think he was in high school, and he was listening to the girl on how she's been touched
Mhm.
and how she feels uncomfortable. She doesn't feel okay, just being groped and all that. And he's listening to her and he's respecting her. So what he did was he held back on making first moves.
Yeah.
Even though he's a gentleman, he didn't like kiss her or anything. Of course, he didn't do any groping or anything. Do you know the girl dumped her? Dumped him.
Mm.
And he said the next person he went out with, she had sex with, and the guy was a bad dude. So sometimes
Yeah.
I feel bad for you guys because it's
Yeah, I
like
know,
you
especially
trying
the
to do
good
the right
ones.
thing, and then still you like don't get the girl. But
Mhm.
I'm just here to encourage you. Please
Yes.
continue to do the right thing
Mhm.
because there's going to be a lady out there that's going to appreciate you, and we need guys that see our signs and our on our warnings
Yeah,
and back
definitely.
off and
Mhm.
just wait for our cue. We're going to
Yep.
give you the cue. Trust me. You do everything right, you're going to get that green light.
As I said,
Just be
just take
patient. Be
patience.
patient, but
Pay close attention to what that person needs.
mhm,
We want to do so much of what we want to do to get a person, but sometimes that's just not enough. Sometimes you just gotta pay attention to what that person needs. And you can still give your love as well, but like I said, you might be somebody who good with gifts, but that person might need somebody who just need to hear them more, or who just need to maybe talk with them more.
mhm.
So we just want to pay attention to close signs and everything.
Yeah. Well, we are about to end this session. We
We
appreciate you.
appreciate,
Yep.
yes, everybody for tuning in. We're gonna be keep doing this, every
Yep.
Wednesday.
Every Wednesday, and we're gonna have next Wednesday. We'll have a part two on this. We're
Yes.
not letting you guys go on this and without conversating. So hopefully next week you'll join the conversation because this is very touchy. You've seen what we're gonna talk about. So if you
Yeah.
want to next week have your child come in, we really want you to be blessed and to protect your children and to be knowledgeable
Mhm.
on what is happening and how to speak to your mate and keep your marriages and how not to be frustrated if your woman is not putting out. So give your wife, your girlfriend a hug and
Yes.
start the conversation tonight. Um, yeah.
And
start the
husbands
conversation.
as well. You
Yeah.
know, wives, we have to pay attention to our husbands, and ladies, the boyfriends. You know, we want to pay attention to what each other needs. You know, when we say we care and we love each other, it plays a part with both. You know, so we want to be in tune, how both is feeling and what each other needs. You know. And we
That's right.
thank everybody. Don't forget to also call in every Monday and Wednesday, 7 to 8 when we go in. We want to also like, share, and subscribe.
On
So,
YouTube. So
yes,
we'll be uploaded later tonight. So check
hmm
us out on YouTube.
yes. And happy holidays, everybody. Be safe. Enjoy your time with your family and your loved ones. If you don't, still with yourself. You know, you are also important. Yes. So
Yes.
that's been great.
All right. Thank you. Oh, Rodney, get our music going.
No, actually, real quick, I just jumped in here
All
because I was
right.
enjoying this, and I know we got a couple of minutes.
Okay.
I want to again encourage everybody to continue to come in and support what's going on. On Wednesdays, let's talk about it, and it's with the ladies. We have Miss Hanadi, the life
Yes.
coach. We thank her for coming in today.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Um, I can assure you, it's so much more that she has to bring that's going to help us move forward. Young ladies, I love it that y'all are going into these areas. I wanted to chime in because this is very important because this is something people dealing with on a regular basis.
Yes.
So, but for everybody just tuning in, just to know that this is real talk about real facts and things that are going on that people are suffering with. We want to just send out season greetings to everybody and say thank you for everybody that just joined in. I'm slipping in here. You know how we do things.
Yes.
We just make. Um, I'm gonna see if I can make that music play and all that stuff. But
Definitely got to close it out with it.
yeah, it's just it was powerful.
Oh yeah.
And for all the ladies who have been violated, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. You got to understand that.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. You have to be able to talk about it. Let people know. As my life coach was telling me, some of the things that happened to me as a child, I carry into adulthood. But I don't have to let it stay there and fester to disrupt my life.
Yep.
And that's what I'll be working on. And that's one of the things that I enjoyed about having a life coach, that I was able to start to recognize these signs. So,
Yes.
I just want everybody just to hang in there.
Yes.
All right.
All
Right.
right.
Check us out on YouTube. Look under People to People, Rodney Grimes. Like and
People to
subscribe.
people.
Power
How's
to
the
the
people?
Yes, with Sir Rod and Lady Z.
Hey,
It's not about you.
it's not about me.
It's about we. And God we trust.
Yeah, so that was really good. So
You
we
did good, girl.
definitely gonna do a part
Part
two.
two?
Okay.
All right.
Because
Next week.
okay.
All right.
Because we gotta touch more on the date rape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For people who are dating and married,
Yeah.
or even friends,
Yeah.
you got people who are in a relationship, but with friends, you got it where the buddy is trying to hit on the girlfriend.
We own the rights to the
She's
music.
feeling harassed, but she's too afraid because if she tells,